Sorry, folks, I'm in the process of signing into my computer here. So there's all these little steps we have to do to get into our weather computer these days. But we do got some pretty significant thunderstorms that have developed across a small area here, but kind of just outside of Wichita Falls. There's some showers and some thunder showers down towards Lakeside City this afternoon, and then there's some severe thunderstorm warnings that's in effect. Then the severe thunderstorm warnings that I have in effect are currently for part of Wichita County, part of Baylor County, part of Archer County, and part of probably part of Wilbarger County too. Give me a second. I'm about to pull all this stuff in so we can kind of track it and see, what's going on. The primary threat is hail. I mean, and some of the hail could be pretty big. We told you yesterday that this could happen, and it indeed has. Actually kind of getting going a little bit earlier than I thought it would, but nonetheless, still got some pretty significant, actually some fairly significant thunderstorms here. And like I say, they are producing some, they're not moving very quickly. The upper atmospheric flow in the atmosphere is fairly weak. So they're not moving very fast here. So let's go ahead and share. Let's make it a little bit bigger here. All right. So here's your radar. And if you look here, there's your warnings. We got a severe thunderstorm warning for, there it is, Baylor into Archer County, and we have southwest Wichita County and southeastern parts of Wilbarger County. Now, you see the little yellow polygon goes up to just south of Electra and just kind of west of Iowa Park, but that storm is going to stay south of there. You've actually got some clusters of these hail-producing thunderstorms here. And if you take a look, we've got hail-producing storms now just barely south of Holiday, just south of 277 there. Probably some large hail increasing in that storm there, just south of Holiday. And you saw a little flare up over Lakeside City, but that shower has quickly diminished. And then you go out to the west, and there's that other hail-producing storm right over southwestern Wichita County and southeastern Baylor County, and they're kind of over. I believe that's late diversion, some pretty large hailstones there, kind of in the rural areas. And that storm is just kind of drifting a little bit to the east, southeast, and it's going to probably cluster up with those storms down to the south. Some of this activity could build in the Holiday, especially that storm to the northwest. But I would think that storm would weaken some. But you do got storms that are also moving almost due east down across the eastern parts of Baylor and over Lake Kickapoo into Archer County. Again, our main concern here is large hailstones. These storms are kind of drifting to the east, southeast at times. They could have some strong wind gusts in them too. We'll just have to see if these storms can make it into Wichita Falls here this afternoon. I don't know that they will. Hard to say. These storms are going to cluster up, and with the weak flow in the atmosphere, these storms may have a tendency to kind of have some erratic motions and movements. So we'll just have to see how it all winds up going. It looks to me right now anyway, like your most active storm area, at least for now, would probably be kind of down into this area here. It might kind of drift over into Archer City and then maybe eventually down towards southern Archer County. So you may wind up, let me redraw that there. I don't like that. You may wind up seeing, like I say, your most active area kind of down here, possibly. Now I'll watch and see what happens, and if this storm doesn't die out, which you would think it would, then you could see it perhaps impact parts of Wichita Falls. But for right now, I think the threat's going to be southwest of us here. You also have a little outflow boundary that's moving to the due west here, and that's actually helped to give those storms a little bit of a push there. And if we look at the winds in the storms, these are not really tornadic storms, but there is actually a little weak rotation in some of these here. And what's happened is you've got just enough wind shear in the atmosphere to produce what we call supercell thunderstorms, and it's not strong wind shear, but the winds in the atmosphere are kind of like they're fairly weak, but they're just enough to help to allow those updrafts to perhaps maybe spin a little bit with especially with the real intense instability and levels of energy we have building out there. There's a new severe thunderstorm warning, and it does include the town of Holiday. the storm that's to the south of Holiday is going to stay south of Holiday because you got some heavy rain towards Mankins, and then you got this severe storm towards Cadane Corner that's kind of moving east southeast. That could move over Holiday, and it may clip the southwest side of Wichita Falls. But these other storms that are down here in Archer County are going to stay away from the city here. They're going to continue to kind of move east southeast. And like I say, there are some little signs that there might be a little weak spin in some of these. But there's really not enough low-level spin in the atmosphere to really produce a lot in the way of tornadic activity. But what happens in this type of a situation is you get a I'm sorry, I just looking at the crawl on TV, making sure it was working right. You get a lot of storm interactions, and when you get these interactions like this, sometimes that can kind of alter the atmosphere, and the storm interactions can cause them to spin a little bit. So sometimes you might get a little quick spin up with some of these. You definitely see a little rotation on the storms down here to the south, right along the Archer and Baylor County line. There's a little bit of a weak spin showing up there south of Holiday. Nothing tornadic, though. And you also see a little bit of a weak spin over there towards Lake Diversion. None of this is tornadic, though. Again, it's all just these are all just showing the rotating updrafts, which help produce these big hailstones like we're seeing this afternoon. Some of the hail could be fairly large. To me, it looks like the largest hailstones could be just southeast of Holiday and kind of southwest of Lakeside City, just north of Archer City with those cells there. You got some heavy rain and some hailstones along the Archer Baylor County line, but the biggest hailstones maybe up here near Cadane Corner are kind of just over towards the lake diversion area here. So all these clusters of storms here are going to continue to kind of drift east southeast, and since they're not moving very quickly, they could produce some very heavy rainfall that adds up in a short period of time, which could lead to some flooding. But I will definitely be keeping an eye on these here this afternoon to see how it all kind of plays out. Again, the overall severe threat isn't super high. I don't think so. I think the hail is going to miss Iowa Park here and Holiday tonight. You think they're going to get to play? It's going to be a close call. These storms here should help zap the energy out of the atmosphere, and when more storms try to develop this evening, I think that I think so. I don't know for sure, but I think so. Sorry, I'm texting Cameron. I bet these storms have some nice wall clouds on them. Some of them, though. I do. I bet. I don't think the tornado threat in them is that significant, though. I mean, it's just these storms are just there's just not enough spin, like I said, in the lowest part of the atmosphere to really help that happen. But when you get storm scale interactions, it can alter things a bit. Like I say, you got some pretty heavy downpours and some hail over Cadane Corner. And, these storms are really clustering up now and kind of drifting east southeast. So they're about to, I think that this storm northwest of Holiday is going to move over Holiday. So heavy downpours and maybe some hail in Holiday with that as it kind of drifts to the east southeast. And that's probably at least the forward flank of that storm. Just east of Cadane Corner will clip the extreme southwestern side of Wichita Falls and maybe the extreme western side of Lake Wichita and Lakeside City. Then you got these other storms down to the south that are kind of moving a little bit more east, northeast, kind of clustering up. So you may wind up seeing a pretty good wind signature. You may wind up seeing a pretty good what we call MCV develop down this way if these things can cluster up right. And there could be some pretty strong winds with this stuff here eventually. So, I mean, it could wind up being a pretty significant storm down there, Archer County. And some of that is pretty heavy right over Lake Kickapoo. Our lakes aren't 100% yet, but they very well could get there with these slow-moving storms. Some flooding is also possible with them. Checking out the latest relative velocities here. You got a little bit of a spin there. Oh, just west-southwest of Lake Kickapoo there. Not a significant spin, but you definitely got, I would say, Cameron, I know Cameron's watching this. I would say that's probably better rotation there than the storms we saw on Monday. So see, if you were chasing this, that would probably be a better storm to chase. I bet you would see some good storm structure with that. It's too late now to go after that, but I bet you'd see some good storm structure with that. I bet it's got a nice wall cloud with it. And if we look at the velocities again, I mean, there's definitely some spin there, and it's actually increasing a bit just west-southwest of Lake Kickapoo. So, and then you do see little spins here up the south of Holiday. And again, nothing here to be concerned with, but I wouldn't be surprised if these storms kind of cluster up if you see some strong wind gusts become an issue there. Let's see here. Mark Smith looks like he's out and about. Oh, wow. Oh, this is from this morning. Mark Smith had a big funnel cloud there, Love County, which is not in our viewing area, but that was a big funnel cloud there at that. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see some wall clouds and funnel clouds with some of this stuff down there. That's a really nice. These are definitely supercells. Cameron, I don't even know what to do. I mean, you'd need to be here now, and you'd have to get in the tracker and drive south along 281. They're not moving that fast, but you'd have to get here pretty quick and get going. So, I mean, you definitely would probably have a better chase today. I've told you before that our better days come on days like this, days you really don't expect it. The shear will be weaker, but you got mesoscale boundaries, and that's what usually produces it. So, if you were out there now, you'd probably be enjoying this a whole lot more than you did on Monday. So, yeah, you made the call, but you're welcome to come go down 281 towards Windthorst. But I mean, you'd have to, kind of get with it here pretty soon. That hail threat really, that storm's just not moving much over Holiday there. I mean, over southwestern Wichita County. It's just barely moving and just kind of back building. And as a result, we're seeing these flooding, probably some flooding threats there. And again, a lot of hail falling out of it. Since they're not moving, that hail is probably accumulating on the ground there too. Probably got some decent hailstones kind of there, kind of over the western tip of Lake Kickapoo. These storms now downwind, these storms are going to develop hitting into this general area here. So the storms have erratic movements here. It's hard to track them because they're not moving very quickly, but they're erratic movements. This storm here is kind of elongated and kind of moving in this kind of direction there. So I'd say Holiday, southwest Wichita Falls, Lakeside City maybe, but the worst might be just west of there. But Holiday, you're probably going to get some hail from that, heavy downpours at least. You got this storm to the south that is, not moving a whole lot too. And it's likely producing some pretty good hailstones just south of Holiday, down there in rural sections of Archer County. And then you go over Lake Kickapoo and it's pouring down rain. And you got this hook echo here, just kind of west-southwest of Lake Kickapoo there. And just east of Seymour, kind of along the border there, Baylor and Wichita County. And there is some decent rotation down there at that too. I mean, if you do get a tornado, it would just probably be brief and quick. It probably wouldn't be anything long lasting. You also see storms now building kind of back off to the west here, southern parts of Baylor, and increasing now, northern parts of Baylor, southern parts of Wichita, Will-Barger County rather. And those will probably increase. There's another one over here in Hardeman County, and those will increase too. But your bigger storms are these over here in Archer, Wichita County, and in time, I wouldn't be surprised to see something pretty significant come out of this as far as wind here, as it makes its way eventually over into Clay and maybe the southern parts of Archer County there too. Archer City, you could get in on some of this here too. But yeah, that's a pretty decent rotation showing up there now, just west of Lake Kickapoo. Yeah, I've got decent rotation there. And that storm that's in Wichita County is trying to build a little bit to the north now too. So we'll see if Wichita Falls gets in on that. But looks like at least the western part gets there too. Hey, I need to do a weather cut in on News Channel 6. So let them know upstairs I need to do one here. I need to get hey, Alyssa, I got some severe weather going on. I need to do a weather cut in here pretty soon.
Okay, do you want to take these?
I'll just take the topicals, yeah.
Okay, so we need to leave with weather then?
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
This is actually some of the more significant severe weather we've seen here lately, honestly. Right over Wichita Falls, that is. So just do a weather update when we can. I guess when is a topical supposed to go? At 3? All right, I'll just we're just going to do weather cut in over it. All right. So go ahead and get me an OBS Facebook Live stuff set up too. I'm doing it through Restream right now, but it's better to do it through OBS. So. I mean, there's nothing tornadic down there, but there is some rotation there, and there's a little bit there over Lake Diversion. At times I've seen a little bit kind of south of, and there's a little bit there also showing up now, due south of Holiday. We may get some tornado warnings that may come out of this here. Yeah, storm interactions. I think eventually you're going to see, you may get some spin ups in here, but I also think that you're also definitely going to see some strong wind gusts. And I think eventually you're going to see a big, what we call MCV, mesoconvective vortex develop down here. And it's going to be a big, big wind event that's going to be moving across. I wouldn't look at that increase in rotation there south of Holiday. Now, remember, these storms, they're not moving very quickly here, but they certainly are. They're interacting. They're storm interactions is what it is. It's called storm interactions. And that's allowing these storms to spin a little bit here. Give me a second. I got to sign into the National Weather Service Instant Messenger. See, Cameron, I should have just planned to have you out. These storms, this is some of the better storms we've seen lately, and this would be actually good stuff. Here the Weather Service is. All right, give me just a second. I'll be ready in just a second here. All right, we're about to do a weather cut in, so we may go a little bit quiet on social media for a minute. So, all right, I am ready when you are. All right. All right, let's go. Yeah. This activity is really increasing here. I'm on social media right now too, so there's Facebook. So heavy rain and flooding is going to be a big concern, I think. And this is building into holiday now too. But you can almost see these little spins down here. Like I said, there's just not a lot of low level rotation in the atmosphere, but they definitely are having some storm interactions, and that's what's making them spin here some. All right, here's a weather update for you this afternoon. And for those of you that are watching on social media, we're doing a weather update here. We got severe thunderstorm warnings for hail-producing storms here. Some of it's been pretty large. In addition to that, these storms are not moving very fast, so they're producing a lot of heavy rainfall, and that will result in some flooding. We got warnings out for southeastern Wilbarger, southwestern Wichita, extreme northwestern parts of Archer County. Then we go from western parts of Archer County through eastern parts of Baylor County. Then you have another warning there that's near Holiday. Now, these storms so far are just to the west, southwest of Wichita Falls, but they are kind of, especially this one to the west of here, is kind of building east, northeast. And if it can kind of continue to do this, we could see some heavy downpours, maybe overspread at least the western and southwestern side of the city, maybe even down towards Lakeside City. Heavy rainfall and maybe some smaller hail with that, maybe some gusty winds too. We jump down to the south. There's some larger hailstones just south of Holiday and Lakeside City. That storm's kind of drifting east, southeast. Some heavy rain about to move in and smaller hail about to move into Holiday shortly. Otherwise, down towards Lake Kickapoo and points to the west, south of Dundee, some large hail with those storms there. And we have other storms that will be developing throughout the afternoon. Look for these storms. These storm clusters are not moving fast. Again, flooding could be an issue here, but look for them to drift slowly east, southeast throughout the afternoon. We're tracking it here on News Channel 6 and also over on Facebook Live. I'll go to my Wichita Falls Tower cam here. When are we going to do the next one?
What?
When do we do the next topical?
The next topical?
Mm-hmm.
We record right after the 6.
No, there's two topicals that run.
Oh, okay.
All right. So the first one was now. There should be another one that comes up in a little bit long, a little bit in a little while as well. I'll take that one live as well. So sorry, I'm just doing some coordinating with the production staff here on how can do some updates and whatnot there. But there's a live look from our Wichita Falls Tower cam. And it is you're seeing the darkening skies. There was a shower over Lakeside City earlier, so I would be interested to see if these storms, what these storms can do. We had an outflow, and logic would tell you, meteorologically anyway, these storms should have weakened. But what's happened is it's just so hot and humid outside today that sorry, I'm getting signed in here so I can move my camera around here. But it's been so hot and so humid today. We had a little outflow boundary that pushed through, and it's just that moisture really surged in fast too. It was we had basically just beautiful weather the last couple of days, and now we have this front in the area with all of this, and it is just a lot of energy is built back in here today. Now we don't have what we call real strong wind shear. So that's kind of limiting the overall storm organization here, but there's just enough to create these clusters and these supercells you see here. Since the atmospheric flow is so light, though, that it's causing these storms to kind of move slowly. And that's why they're putting down so much rain. And I would expect these storms to start producing some really strong wind gusts. So far, we've mostly just seen hail with these, but I would think some strong wind gusts are going to be also possible. These are starting now to build over holiday, and you might be seeing some just outside of the Wichita Falls city limits there, down towards the KMAY, maybe some heavy downpours, maybe some showers about to build into Lakeside City shortly. Now, that storm that's got the warning for it there has weakened as far as hail goes, but there's some other storms developing now upwind from it. And again, you're just a whole big cluster here of storms. The strongest storms I see on radar this afternoon are going to be these. Sorry, I'm trying to look at some stuff here. Are these storms that you see kind of down here? There's a strong storm there north of Archer City, and this is probably your strongest storm there. Those are the strongest. If you look at the winds in them, and you can really see these winds wrapping up there. Some strong spin, but again, this is not anything tornadic. Although there may be some tighter rotation trying to show up down here just southwest of Lake Kickapoo. So I'm gonna keep an eye on that. Well, look, I got to go and regroup. I will jump back on Facebook Live here in a minute. I got to do a couple little things. I'll be right back.